Beneath the sparkling surface of Hollywood's golden era lies a hidden, often overlooked truth. Numerous iconic stars secretly battled alcohol addiction. While some were able to keep their struggles under wraps and continue their careers, others saw their lives spiral out of control as addiction took a toll on their health, relationships, and professional paths. For some, their battles with alcohol became public spectacles, with on-set incidents and scandals that would forever tarnish their legacies. In this video, we explore the 25 legendary figures whose struggles with alcohol became as infamous as their celebrated careers. Frank Sinatra, not only an iconic singer but also a figure of controversy, was well known for his intense alcohol addiction. His drink of choice, Jack Daniels. Sinatra was so particular about his whiskey that he had a specific recipe: 4 ice cubes, 2 fingers of Jack Daniels, and a splash of water in a classic rocks glass. Some sources even suggest that Sinatra could consume an entire bottle of Jack Daniels in a single day, a claim that reportedly left his doctor in disbelief. His turbulent relationship with alcohol mirrored the ups and downs of his career, much like the characters he portrayed in his timeless films. When Frank Sinatra drank, his behavior could change dramatically. Sources reveal that his mood would often shift, leading to tensions and conflicts with reporters or even fellow film crew members. There was one particularly unsettling incident where his ex-wife had to lock herself in a room after witnessing Sinatra drinking gin, which prompted concerns about his aggressive behavior when intoxicated. Sinatra's alcohol addiction was so notorious that he and his close circle of friends, including other Hollywood stars, jokingly called themselves the U.S. Olympic Drinking Team. Sinatra passed away in 1998 at the age of 82, and his legacy remains forever entwined with his complex relationship with alcohol. In a final act of homage to his beloved whiskey, he was buried with a bottle of Jack Daniels in his casket. It may be hard to imagine, but during the peak of his drinking in the 1970s, Richard Burton was consuming 2 to 3 bottles of vodka every single day. His notorious reputation for excessive drinking and complete disregard for his public image became widely known. On one occasion, Burton assured a director that he would refrain from drinking during their project, only to clarify that he meant he would limit himself to just 1 bottle of vodka per day. In another remarkable statement, he declared that he considered himself clean after drinking 2 bottles of vodka, an absurd claim that stood in stark contrast to any notion of sobriety. Despite his personal struggles, Burton still managed to deliver a breathtaking performance in the 1966 film Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, earning an Academy Award nomination for his outstanding work. However, alcohol continued to cast a shadow over Richard Burton's life. During the filming of The Klansman, his struggle with balance became evident, as he often needed to sit or lie down during scenes due to his lack of coordination. After completing the film, Burton sought help by checking into a rehabilitation center, determined to confront his addiction. Despite his resolve to quit drinking following his divorce from Elizabeth Taylor, the damage caused by years of heavy drinking was undeniable. Tragically, Burton passed away in 1984 from cirrhosis of the liver and kidney failure, leaving behind a legacy marked by both incredible talent and the ravages of addiction. After marrying PepsiCo's executive, Joan Crawford became the company's official ambassador, leveraging her celebrity to help expand its business reach. As part of her role, she enjoyed a variety of luxurious perks, one of which was traveling worldwide on the company's behalf. During these global trips, Crawford made very specific drink requests at each destination. Her list often included 2 bottles of Schaff, a bottle of Old Forester bourbon, a bottle of Scotch whiskey, Beefeater gin, 2 bottles of champagne, and of course, a case of Pepsi. However, despite her prominent position as a Pepsi ambassador, Crawford rarely drank the soda herself, instead favoring alcohol over the soft drink she was supposed to promote. Leonard Nimoy, best known for his iconic portrayal of Mr. Spock, battled alcohol addiction throughout much of the filming of the beloved Star Trek series. Nimoy himself admitted that he used alcohol as a way to cope with the grueling demands of the set and the intense pressure that came with the show's success. His co-star, William Shatner, believed that Nimoy turned to alcohol as a shield to handle the overwhelming expectations of fame. What began as an occasional drink gradually developed into a full-blown addiction, as Nimoy was prone to relying on alcohol to manage stress. Thankfully, after completing his work on Star Trek, Nimoy sought help and entered recovery, taking the important step toward regaining control of his life. Despite his efforts to overcome his drinking problem, Leonard Nimoy's struggles were far from over. Unfortunately, he fell into another addiction, smoking, which ultimately took a toll on his health. This habit contributed to his passing at the age of 83. While his portrayal of Mr. Spock remains a lasting legacy, Nimoy's personal battles serve as a poignant reminder that even the most beloved stars face their own challenges behind the scenes. His story underscores the complex and often hidden struggles that many individuals face, no matter their fame or success. Dean Martin embodied effortless charm and sophistication, with his suave demeanor leading many to believe he was a heavy drinker. He famously quipped, "I feel sorry for people who don't drink. When they wake up in the morning, that's as good as they're going to feel all day." His on-stage persona was built around the image of a carefree, fun-loving drinker, but those closest to him, his daughter and friends, revealed that this was all part of the act. Martin often had nothing more than apple juice in his glass. In truth, the drink and cigarette were props that helped him cultivate a legendary persona. Men aspired to be like him, while women dreamed of being with him. Although Dean Martin's public image was closely associated with alcohol, he was, in reality, a devoted father who prioritized family time. He was always present at family dinners and typically enjoyed just one drink each evening with his wife. Despite his career being tied to the persona of a heavy drinker, Martin knew how to strike a balance and understood the importance of moderation. He passed away in 1995 at the age of 78, leaving behind a legacy defined by his charm, charisma, and the enduring appeal of a persona that transcended the stage. Barbara Payton was a rising star of the 1950s, celebrated for her stunning looks and high-profile romances with Hollywood icons like Bob Hope and her husband, Franchot Tone. Originally from Minnesota, she moved to Hollywood, where her beauty and talent quickly made her one of the most recognizable stars of the 1940s and 50s. She shared the screen with industry greats like James Cagney, Gary Cooper, and Gregory Peck. However, her career took a tragic turn due to her struggle with alcohol addiction. As her life unraveled, Payton began writing bad checks and eventually became entangled in prostitution. Her personal life descended into turmoil, marred by scandalous affairs, toxic relationships, theft, and frequent run-ins with the police, transforming her from a rising star to a cautionary tale of Hollywood's darker side. By the 1960s, Barbara Payton's alcohol addiction had deepened, plunging her life into despair. Her downward spiral reached a breaking point when she lost custody of her children due to her reckless lifestyle. In 1962, she was arrested for public drunkenness after being found asleep at a bus stop on Sunset Boulevard, clad only in a coat and swimsuit. Not long after, she was arrested again for disorderly conduct following a rowdy, alcohol-fueled party. From then on, she spent much of her time drifting between bars and taverns. Her once bright future ended in tragedy when she died at just 39 from heart and liver disease. A heartbreaking conclusion to the story of a star who had once seemed destined for greatness. Elizabeth Taylor, renowned for her unparalleled beauty and talent during Hollywood's golden age, faced her own demons with alcohol and drug addiction despite her remarkable success. In 1983, she made headlines as the first major celebrity to voluntarily seek help at the Betty Ford Center, a groundbreaking move that would inspire countless others. Founded by Betty Ford, the wife of then-President Gerald Ford, the center offered a lifeline to those struggling with addiction. Taylor's courageous decision not only marked a pivotal moment in her own recovery, but also sparked awareness and encouraged others to confront their hidden battles with addiction. By openly acknowledging her struggles with addiction and seeking treatment, Elizabeth Taylor helped break the stigma surrounding substance abuse and paved the way for others to seek help. Her courageous journey toward recovery transformed her life in more ways than one. After overcoming her personal battles, Taylor channeled her energy into advocating for HIV/AIDS awareness and funding crucial research. She became a tireless champion for the cause, using her fame and platform to raise awareness and mobilize resources for treatment and research. Elizabeth Taylor's remarkable shift from addiction to philanthropy was an inspiring journey, one that not only brought hope to those struggling, but also ignited a movement for positive change. Cary Grant, celebrated for his charm and elegance on screen, struggled with alcohol addiction during the 1950s and sought professional help to break free. His recovery journey took an unexpected turn when his doctor recommended LSD, an experimental treatment at the time. Grant, intrigued by the potential of this new drug, found deep personal insight and emotional healing in the psychedelic experiences it offered. He became an advocate for the substance, even sharing it with close friends, including Judy Balabin, daughter of Paramount's head, who famously remarked, "If it's good for Cary Grant, it's good for me." Grant estimated that he participated in around 100 LSD therapy sessions, and while unconventional, the experience had a transformative impact on his life, enhancing his sense of well-being and perspective. He lived out his remaining years peacefully, leaving behind a legacy not only as a Hollywood icon, but also as a man who triumphed over personal struggles. Oliver Reed possessed a commanding on-screen presence, drawing audiences in with his intense portrayals of villains and anti-heroes. His striking blue eyes and facial scars, which resulted from a drunken bar fight, only added to his rugged allure. Though Reed's immense acting talent was widely acknowledged, it was often overshadowed by his ongoing struggle with alcohol. He gained fame through iconic roles in films like The Three Musketeers, Oliver Twist, Treasure Island, and Gladiator, among over 120 other productions. Tragically, Reed passed away shortly after completing his work on Gladiator, following a drinking contest with Royal Navy sailors in a pub in Malta. Despite his personal demons, Reed had been a highly sought-after actor, with director Ridley Scott casting him as Proximo in Gladiator on the condition that he stay sober during filming. Reed's life took a dramatic turn after a violent brawl that left him with permanent scars, requiring 63 stitches. At the time, he believed his acting career was over, but instead, he embraced life on his own terms, becoming the life of every party. The night before completing his final film, Gladiator, Reed visited a pub where he drank 8 bottles of beer, 3 bottles of rum, and several glasses of whiskey. Tragically, he suffered a heart attack and passed away soon after. When reflecting on his tumultuous life, Reed often spoke of just one regret: not finishing every drink at every pub and not sleeping with every woman in the world. Michael Landon, renowned for his beloved roles in Bonanza and Little House on the Prairie, was celebrated for his portrayal of virtuous characters, earning admiration for his moral standing on television. However, behind this carefully crafted image, Landon struggled with a severe addiction to alcohol and painkillers, which cast a shadow over his otherwise flawless public persona. While his co-stars were aware of his drinking, they had no idea how deeply it affected him. On set, Landon often blended whiskey into his coffee and vodka into other drinks, making his addiction a part of his everyday routine. Even after filming wrapped, he continued to frequent bars, living a lifestyle marked by excess and a disregard for the future. Melissa Gilbert, who portrayed Michael Landon's daughter on Little House on the Prairie, reflected on her childhood and admitted she was unaware of his habit of adding vodka to his coffee. She later remarked, "I'm sure he's the reason I often choose men who smell like alcohol." In addition to his battles with alcohol and painkillers, Landon smoked up to 4 packs of unfiltered cigarettes daily, a habit that likely contributed to his diagnosis of pancreatic cancer. Sadly, this illness took his life when he was just 54 years old, cutting short the life of a beloved television icon. John Barrymore, a legendary actor and member of the illustrious Barrymore family, was one of the most celebrated performers of the early 20th century, widely regarded as one of the greatest actors of all time. Renowned for his intense portrayals of complex, tormented characters, often struggling with addiction, his roles seemed to mirror his own battle with alcoholism. Barrymore's mastery of Shakespearean drama and his unforgettable depiction of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde showcased the depth of his talent. However, his personal life unraveled in his later years as his addiction grew worse. In a telling moment of desperation, his second wife caught him attempting to drink her perfume, a harrowing sign of how deeply his struggles had consumed him. In 1933, John Barrymore delivered a memorable performance in the classic comedy Dinner at 8, where he portrayed one of his first on-screen drunken roles. Sadly, life soon began to imitate art, as his ongoing battle with alcohol led to a steady decline in his career. His once brilliant memory deteriorated to the point where he had to rely on cue cards to get through his scenes, marking the twilight of his acting journey. Barrymore's health continued to worsen, and he passed away at the age of 60. His life and career ultimately cut short by alcohol-related illnesses. It's hard to imagine that someone with Peter O'Toole's piercing blue eyes was also one of Hollywood's most infamous drinkers. In a candid interview with David Letterman, O'Toole revealed that his drinking habits were a reflection of his generation's cultural norms, where alcohol flowed freely regardless of life's responsibilities. He even claimed that drinking enhanced his on-screen performances. One of the most famous stories from the set of Lawrence of Arabia centers on the legendary camel charge scene. Both O'Toole and his co-star Omar Sharif were terrified of camels, so they turned to alcohol for liquid courage to face their fears. The plan worked, though perhaps a little too well. O'Toole later admitted he could barely remember filming the scene, laughing it off with his signature wit. Fortunately, he still managed to remember his lines. The production of Jaws in 1975 is often remembered as one of the most chaotic in film history. The crew faced relentless challenges, from malfunctioning mechanical sharks to unpredictable ocean conditions and strained relationships among the cast. One source of on-set tension was Robert Shaw, whose fondness for scotch during long shooting days frequently put him at odds with his co-star Richard Dreyfuss. Shaw's drinking was a recurring issue throughout production, except for one memorable scene where his character was supposed to be drunk, which may have been the easiest scene to shoot. Dreyfuss later admitted he preferred Shaw sober and once dramatically tossed a glass of alcohol from Shaw's hand into the sea. In hindsight, maybe they should have made that a daily ritual. Jan Michael Vincent was once a shining star in Hollywood, celebrated for his rugged good looks and his leading role in the hit TV series Airwolf. It's hard to imagine that someone who embodied charm and charisma during Hollywood's golden era would see his career end in tragedy. His rise to stardom was almost accidental. A film scout discovered him while he was serving in the California National Guard. This chance encounter launched him into the spotlight, giving him the opportunity to work alongside Hollywood legends like Robert Conrad, Rock Hudson, Charles Bronson, John Wayne, Burt Reynolds, and Robert Mitchum. But what seemed like a meteoric rise soon took a dark turn. Vincent's struggles with alcohol and drug addiction slowly eroded his career and personal life. Even after becoming the highest-paid actor on television with his role in Airwolf, earning an unprecedented salary, his ongoing battle with addiction continued to overshadow his success. Ultimately, the very demons he tried to escape became the force that derailed his once promising future. With immense wealth at his disposal, Jan Michael Vincent's addictions to cocaine and alcohol spiraled out of control. By the second and third seasons of Airwolf, his substance abuse was impossible to hide, leading to frequent production delays and soaring costs. The mounting issues ultimately contributed to the show's cancellation, but the fallout didn't end there. Vincent faced multiple arrests for driving under the influence and was involved in a devastating car accident that left him with life-altering injuries, including a broken back and the eventual amputation of one leg. Allegations of domestic violence against his girlfriend further tarnished his once glorious reputation. Over time, the relentless grip of addiction took a visible toll on his appearance, as his youthful, striking looks gave way to the wear and tear of a hard-lived life, a sobering reminder of addiction's destructive power. Gail Russell was an actress who never sought the limelight, yet her undeniable beauty led her to stardom. A shy and introverted young woman, she preferred the quiet of her room over socializing. However, her life took a turn when a Paramount executive discovered her, and with her mother's encouragement, she auditioned for a role. Russell married actor Guy Madison in 1949, but their relationship was fraught with difficulties and ended in divorce in 1954. By then, Russell's struggle with alcohol had escalated, and her promising film career came to a halt in 1952. After seeking help, she entered treatment and attempted a comeback in 1955 with the film 7 Men from Now. Unfortunately, her battle with alcoholism persisted. Tragically, Russell passed away from acute and chronic alcoholism at her Los Angeles home, a sad end to a career that could have been far more. Spencer Tracy, regarded as one of Hollywood's greatest icons, struggled with alcoholism throughout his life, a battle that deeply affected both his personal relationships and his career. His drinking became such a defining part of his life that it permeated every chapter of his biography. Medical records from a 1942 examination at Johns Hopkins revealed that Tracy had a pattern of taking booze vacations after finishing a film, often lasting from 1 week to 10 days, occurring every 8 months. Despite being fully aware of the negative impact alcohol had on him, Tracy found himself unable to resist its pull. As a result, Tracy often retreated to luxurious hotels, isolating himself from others, avoiding meetings, and disappointing those around him. His regret over his drinking became a constant source of inner turmoil, driving him towards self-destructive behavior. Even after managing to stay sober for 5 years, Tracy confessed that the sight of a martini still stirred cravings within him. His close friend and director, Joseph Mankiewicz, recognized the shame Tracy felt and understood how deeply it influenced his ongoing battle with alcoholism. Tracy's life was shaped by sorrow, humiliation, and the wounds inflicted by his addiction, leaving a profound mark on both his personal life and career. Errol Flynn was the embodiment of charm and rugged masculinity, immortalized by his swashbuckling roles in classics like Robin Hood and Captain Blood. But off-screen, his life was an untamed adventure fueled by indulgence and excess. Known as a notorious womanizer, Flynn leaned into his playboy image, living as boldly as the characters he portrayed. His exploits were the stuff of legend, from wild nights of drinking with Fidel Castro in Cuba to solitary drinking binges at his Malibu home, which he shared with fellow actor David Niven. Perhaps the most telling sign of his excess was his infamous nickname, the Sea Liver, a nod to the staggering amount of alcohol he consumed aboard his private yacht. His larger-than-life persona remains one of Hollywood's most enduring and cautionary tales. The story of Errol Flynn doesn't end with his on-screen heroics. Behind the scenes, he was notorious for hosting wild parties where alcohol, cocaine, and sex flowed freely. His appetite for indulgence was so extreme that he sometimes showed up to film sets intoxicated. But as with all reckless lifestyles, Flynn's came to a sudden, harsh conclusion when he collapsed in an elevator in his early 30s. Doctors later revealed that the damage to his heart and lungs was irreversible. Flynn's wild life eventually caught up with him, and he passed away from a heart attack at just 50, marking the tragic end of a life as chaotic and legendary as the characters he portrayed. Humphrey Bogart is widely celebrated as one of the greatest actors in American cinema, with numerous Oscar nominations and iconic roles that cemented his place in film history. His respect among Hollywood peers is undeniable, but his personal life was overshadowed by his notorious drinking habits. While friends described him as generally easygoing, they noted a dramatic shift around 11:30 p.m., a time when he often became angry, stubborn, and at times even violent. As his career progressed, his alcoholism started to take a toll on his work. He frequently showed up to set either drunk or suffering from a hangover, with one famous incident occurring during the filming of Sahara, when he arrived in his pajamas, refused to work, and spent the day riding his bike around the Warner Brothers lot instead. What began as a coping mechanism and part of his public persona eventually became a liability, damaging both his personal relationships and professional reputation. Humphrey Bogart was also known for working only when his ex-wife, Mayo Methot, brought him a martini. a reflection of how deeply alcohol was embedded in his daily routine. Even when he wasn't filming, Bogart rarely went long without a drink. On one occasion, intoxicated and impulsive, he allegedly ran out of a restaurant with a safe, only to abandon it on Beverly Hills Boulevard. Another infamous incident involved him assaulting two women who attempted to steal the giant panda bear he had brought to a nightclub as his drinking companion. Despite drinking alongside famous stars like Richard Burton and Frank Sinatra, Bogart's issues with alcohol persisted, leading to him being banned from several bars. His lifelong indulgence in drinking and smoking took a severe toll on his health. In 1956, he was diagnosed with cancer and passed away shortly after. Even in his final days, he could still be seen savoring a glass of sherry, a poignant reminder that his bond with alcohol never truly faded. Bogart's story remains a tragic testament to the destructive power of addiction, even for those who captured the hearts of millions. W.C. Fields, one of America's greatest comedians and actors, became famous for his unique comedic style, nasal voice, and rebellious charm. He was also notorious for his love of alcohol. Fields rose to stardom in his late 50s, but his drinking soon reached alarming levels, with some reports claiming he consumed over 2 liters of gin a day. This excessive drinking took a heavy toll on his health, causing severe tremors and withdrawal symptoms. Despite his immense talent, his personal struggles began to affect his career, leading to his dismissal from Paramount after films like Poppy, 1936, and In the Big Broadcast, 1938. However, in his later years, Fields managed to regain control of his life and health, making a remarkable recovery after years of battling alcoholism. In 1937, W.C. Fields found a new outlet for his comedic genius as a regular on the popular radio show Chase and Sanborn Hour, which helped him maintain his fame and provided a sense of stability. His health gradually improved, and he made a successful comeback to the film industry. However, the last 22 months of his life were marked by a prolonged battle with illness, during which he spent time at the L.A. Encina Sanatorium in Pasadena, California. On Christmas Day, 1946, Fields passed away from a severe stomach hemorrhage at the age of 66, marking the end of a turbulent yet legendary life. Bernard Lee was a celebrated actor whose career spanned over 5 decades, with more than 100 films and television shows to his name. He began performing at the age of 6 in stage productions before becoming a beloved film actor, most famously known for his portrayal of M, the head of MI6, in 11 James Bond films. Despite his professional success, Lee's personal life was marked by tragedy, including the devastating loss of his wife in a house fire, a violent robbery, and ongoing financial struggles. These hardships drove him into a spiral of despair, leading to a severe alcohol addiction. Lee's drinking became so problematic that during breaks from filming Edgar Wallace TV shows, he was sometimes locked in a room to prevent him from drinking. On occasion, sources reveal, he would have a straw passed through a door crack to secretly satisfy his cravings. Even the notoriously heavy-drinking Richard Burton remarked that no one could match Bernard Lee's capacity for alcohol. Tragically, Lee passed away at the age of 73 from stomach cancer, a likely consequence of his long-standing battle with alcoholism. Bela Lugosi, a legendary figure in the horror genre, lived a life filled with tragedy and turmoil, largely due to his struggles with alcohol. His personal story could easily be dubbed a personal horror story, as his later years were overshadowed by addiction. Alongside his alcoholism, Lugosi developed a morphine dependency, creating a destructive cycle of substance abuse. This combination ravaged his mental health, leading to a series of unfortunate events that hastened his decline. One particularly telling incident on set exposed the depths of Lugosi's alcohol problem as his behavior became erratic, further tarnishing his once promising career. Director Ed Wood, who collaborated with Bela Lugosi on several films, once discovered him in a heartbreaking scene. Behind a curtain, Lugosi was drunk, tears streaming down his face as he clutched a revolver, pointing it at Wood. In that vulnerable moment, he spoke words that revealed the depths of his despair. "Eddie, I'm going to die tonight, and I want you to come with me." It was a tragic reflection of the suffering Lugosi was enduring. Understanding the pain behind the plea, Wood, who too struggled with alcohol addiction, recognized that Lugosi needed comfort rather than confrontation. Offering him peace, Wood poured a glass of scotch, Lugosi's favorite, and handed it to him. After taking a sip, Lugosi lowered the gun, the tension dissipating as the two men shared a quiet, sorrowful moment. Lon Chaney Jr., renowned for his remarkable ability to portray monstrous and complex characters, shocked his fans when it was revealed that he struggled with alcohol addiction and deep depression. His drinking, which spiraled out of control, took a severe toll on his health, ultimately contributing to his battle with cancer and liver disease. Despite his personal struggles, Chaney had a successful career, with standout roles in films like Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein. However, his life was marked by tragedy, including a failed suicide attempt. Chaney's alcoholism caused numerous setbacks, including being banned from the estate of William Randolph Hearst after an incident involving Mary Davies. Though he faced accusations of intoxication during a live television show, many still praised his ability to perform with professionalism under such circumstances. Albert Finney, the distinguished British actor known for his memorable roles in Tom Jones, Murder on the Orient Express, and Aaron Brockovich, left an indelible mark on cinema. Behind the scenes, however, Finney wrestled with his own personal battle, a long history of heavy drinking. He was known for drinking beer throughout the day, often starting at lunch and continuing well into the evening. In later years, he reflected on his drinking habits, acknowledging that although it had brought moments of enjoyment, he often wondered how he had managed to sustain such a lifestyle. In 1984, after a kidney cancer diagnosis, Finney made the life-changing decision to quit drinking. He successfully overcame the illness and continued acting until 2012. Finney passed away in 2019 at the age of 82, leaving behind a powerful legacy that reflects not only his exceptional talent, but also his strength in overcoming personal challenges. Broderick Crawford, best known for his role in the TV series Highway Patrol, faced a long battle with alcoholism that severely impacted both his career and personal life. Ironically, his involvement in the show only exacerbated his struggles, leading the production team to come up with innovative solutions to manage his condition. On set, Crawford's difficulties were often hidden by creative camera tricks. When his character appeared to be standing against a wall, he was actually lying on the floor, and entire portions of the set were re-engineered to create the illusion of him being upright. These measures reflected the toll his addiction had taken as he fought to maintain his professional duties while grappling with personal demons. His alcohol struggles mirrored the challenges of the characters he portrayed, serving as a painful reminder of how deeply his addiction affected both his work and his life. Crawford's struggle with alcoholism extended beyond the set and into his personal life, leading to multiple arrests for drunk driving and a suspended driver's license. Ironically, he gained notoriety within the California Highway Patrol, CHP, earning the nickname Old 5002, a reference to the police code for drunk driving. Even while working, Crawford's addiction continued to wreak havoc. He would often bribe crew members to bring him alcohol, causing friction with the production company and further straining his relationship with the CHP. Ultimately, his alcoholism left an indelible mark on both his career and personal life, overshadowing the promising talent he once displayed. On the afternoon of October 19, 1978, Gig Young, a once celebrated actor, tragically took his own life at the age of 64, just after marrying Kim Schmidt. In a horrifying and senseless act, he pointed a gun at her head and shot her dead before turning the weapon on himself. Young's personal life had long been plagued by the damaging effects of alcohol and drug addiction, including a severe dependence on Valium. These struggles had begun to overshadow his career, with one notable incident occurring when he was dismissed from the set of Blazing Saddles after falling due to his substance abuse. Despite these challenges, Young still delivered memorable performances, especially in The Twilight Zone, yet the weight of his personal demons proved too great. His life ended tragically, taking both his own and his wife's, leaving behind a legacy forever marred by his battle with addiction. These tragic tales highlight the profound and destructive effects addiction can have on both individuals and those around them. That concludes our look into the lives of famous Hollywood stars battling alcohol addiction. Be sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for our next video, where we'll share even more captivating Hollywood stories.